Honkai Star Rail. It's been out for a couple of days now, and for the most part, the game is very fun, very solid, but something that can be a little bit confusing to newer players is the warp system. If you played Genshin for any length of time, you'll completely understand what they're doing with the warp system and how the pull system works, but if you've never played any of miHoYo's other games, or Hoyoverse, or whatever they call themselves nowadays, they're a little bit different and can be a bit awkward to get your head around, and I kind of want to just make this video so that anyone who's playing Honkai Star Rail knows what to try and avoid as best as possible when it comes to pulling. So as it stands now, there are currently 3 different banners at the very start of the game. Typically there is a new 5-star banner along with 3 other characters that you are most likely to see when you pull on this banner. There's also the weapon banner, which is where you can get a 5-star weapon, and typically for someone that's free to play, this isn't usually a great option just because a character's a lot more impressive than a new weapon most of the time. And then this one is the standard banner, also known as the Stellar Warp, and allow me to just give you some sort of hints on what you should be doing with your funky little gems over here. First of all, we have the character event warp. This one is timed. There is a set amount of time this banner will be up. Once this is gone, it is gone for good until they decide to do a rerun, and it may not even be exactly the same. Usually with a rerun, when it comes with miHoYo, is they will rerun the 5-star character and then pair them with some new 4 stars or some different 4 stars. But what you need to know about the character event banner is that you only have a 50% chance of getting the 5-star. You can pull a maximum of 90 times before you are guaranteed a 5-star character. Ultimately, the 5-star is typically, you only have a 50% chance of getting this character. If you do not get this character, you are given any one of these characters that appears on the standard banner. So, if you miss out, say for instance, you're trying to pull for Seal, you don't get her, you lose the 50-50, you will get one of the other standard characters on the banner. Now, if you do fail the 50-50, the next time you pull a 5-star character on this banner, you will be guaranteed whoever is on it. So for instance, if you pull 90 times, you fail, you lose the 50-50, you get, I don't know, you get Bronya. You've lost the 50-50, your pity resets. You go for another 90, at which point, once you pull the 5-star, will be a guaranteed seal. So if you lose the 50-50, you know that the next 5-star you get will be this banner character. If you can see here, this warp is counted as a character event warp. The warp count for the guarantee for any character event warp will always be carried over to other character event warps. So basically, if you spend 90 pulls trying to get seal and you fail it and you get someone else, the next legendary 5-star whatever character you get will be whoever is on that banner. So if you do fail to get seal, the next character you try pulling for, by the time you get a 5-star, you'll be guaranteed. Do keep that in mind. Next up is the Light Cone Event Warp, which is very similar to the character banner one, except this time around for weapons. With weapons, thankfully their hard pity is slightly simpler, or slightly easier, and it is guaranteed at 80 pulls, so it's 10 less pulls. It's still rough, but it is better. There is a 75% chance you will receive the one that you're currently pulling for, the one that is actually being advertised and has the boosted rate on the Light Cone Event Warp. Again, if you don't get it, if you do another 80 pulls, you will be guaranteed that Light Cone, so do keep that in mind. If you pull 80 times and you do not get the promoted weapon, and then a new Light Cone Event Warp has started, if you pull 80 times, you'll be guaranteed the promotional weapon. It is basically identical to the character event warp. Now last but not least, we have easily the most important piece of information that a lot of people at the beginning of Genshin just didn't know about, which is why I'm hoping to mention it now at the start of Honkai Star Rail, so people know to be very careful when they're pulling on the standard banner. The standard banner never changes. Occasionally, when a new character has been released and they add it to the standard banner, or in this instance the Stellar Warp, they will let everyone know, hey, we're adding this new stuff to the Stellar Warp. But for the most part, the 5-stars stay as they are. It will be these 7 for quite some time. Eventually they'll probably add an 8th, but for now we just get these 7. The reason this is important is because you should never waste any Stellar Jade on this particular banner. Why? Because if you lose the 50-50 on a character event warp, The other 5-star character you can get is someone on the standard banner, on the Stellar Warp banner. So let's say you fail to unlock Seal. Instead, you might unlock someone like Gepard, or Himiko, or Bronya. Now, if you decide to instead waste 90 pulls on Stellar Warp, you will get one of 7 5-star characters, or you may not even get a 5-star character. You may end up getting a 5-star weapon, because there are weapons on this banner as well. You will either get a 5-star character or you will get a 5-star weapon. Now, typically you want a 5-star character, which is why accidentally getting a new standard character on the character event banner is much better. Not to mention, if you fail the 50-50, the next time you are guaranteed a character. Whereas on a standard banner, there is no failing the 50-50. There is no winning the 50-50. You either get the character you want, or you get like 19 other items that you don't want. Now, does this mean you should never pull on the banner? No, not at all. What's nice about this game and Genshin in general is that there are 2 different types of wishes or star rail passes, depending on which way you look at it, depending on which game you're playing. So the star rail pass is just for the Stellar Warp. For the weapon banner and the character event warp, you get the star rail special pass. And what's nice about these 2 being separate is that sometimes the game will give you a free one of these. They'll give you a free star rail pass and you're welcome to do a pull. And you lose nothing from it because the game's given it to you for free. Maybe you've ranked up a character or something. You have a free pull, you lose nothing by doing it. The only way you lose out by actively pulling on the Stellar Warp banner is if you are using any of your Stellar Jade. There isn't an instance where I can think spending Stellar Jade is worth it on the standard banner, because the only thing in the standard banner you could potentially want to try pulling for, despite the fact that your options are so abysmally low of getting what you want, is if you wanted a 5-star weapon over, I don't know, a character. Or maybe you just really like the RNG. But you could just do the weapon banner instead. So to wrap up, if you want a new character, go through the character event warp. Do not do the Stellar Warp. If you want a new weapon, go through the weapon banner. If you want either of those, do not go through the standard banner. Do not go through the Stellar Warp. If you wish to use any of your Stellar Jade to get new wishes or pulls or warps, never ever use it on Stellar Warp. You can use it on anything else, just don't use it on the Stellar Warp. There is no reason for it. The only time I will allow it is if you are 1 pull away from unlocking your free 5-star once you've done 300 warps. I will allow that and nothing else. But for the most part, you never need to put any money into the Stellar Warp. It is always there. The game is regularly going to give you some free wishes to do whenever. But other than that, the Stellar Warp banner does not need your money, because you just will not get anything out of it that you want or need, and it is just not a good use of money. Not when in maybe a couple of weeks there'll be a brand new character that you super want and will not be in the standard banner anyway. So do keep that in mind. But anyway, that's all I have to say on the matter. Hopefully that's cleared things up for anyone that's a little bit confused on where they should be spending their Stellar Jade for pulls and whatnot. At the beginning of the game it can be a little bit confusing to sort of wrap your head around, but hopefully that's made things a little bit easier. Anyway, thank you for those that stuck around to the end. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe and all of that good stuff. And until next time, I've been James, the Mayor of Jamestown. Goodbye.